All right. Well, today I wanted to talk about a middle aged passport bro that I've known for many years. I used to do security for a few years during college at this company. There was always this guy that would work there on the weekends. He was like a programmer, and he always worked constantly, especially on the weekend. When I would do my checks around the building, I would run into him and we would talk about various things. And he would share certain things about his job and about his life. The one day he told me that he was going to take some time off and go to Central America. I can't remember the exact country he went to, but he had taken about like 2 to 3 months off, so I didn't see him for a little while. To give you some context, he's about 5'6", 5'5", 5'6". He's completely bald, very scrawny looking, and I would say he has like a below average looking face, as a, and all in total. He was probably in his late 40s, early 50s, if I could guess. He was always a really nice guy. But he was just like very weird. I mean, like really, really weird. He would walk around the floor in like straight lines and would stretch in the middle of the floor. Like he'd sit down in the middle of the floor and just be stretching. He just had some really weird habits, to be honest. I'd be like walking by his desk and he would be like talking to his computer. So there was this one Saturday I was doing security and I was making my rounds. And I walked past his desk and we started talking like usual. He seemed to be in a good mood that day. Not that he wasn't in a good mood before, but he was like super excited now. Like I said, I hadn't seen him for a couple months. And then, so I asked him how his trip went. And he told me that he really enjoyed the culture, enjoyed the weather, as well as the people. And he then told me that he had met someone and that she would be coming to America to move in with him. And I was thinking in my head, like, wow, like that's really quick. And he definitely had this look in his eyes like he hit the jackpot. And fast forward a few months later, he comes up to my desk while I was doing security and tells me that he's going to be moving from his apartment to a house and that the woman that he met would be moving in with him. And I was like, wow, like congratulations, man. And in my head, I was thinking like, how is this even possible? And I didn't question anything, and then he asked me if, I can help him move his stuff. So I told him that I would help him out as I don't think this guy had many other friends. And like I said, I was doing security there for many years, and we just kind of like, every time I walked by his desk on the weekends, we would just, we just talk, and over time got to know each other. So he kind of viewed me as a person that, could help him move, and I agreed to it. I wanted to do a good deed. Like I said, he was a super nice guy, but he was just really strange. Like, not dangerous kind of strange, just super, super weird. So the day comes and I arrive to his apartment, and when I get there, I see this woman who's probably in her late 30s, early 40s, I want to say. I'm not super good at guessing age, but I would estimate that this was about her age. So he paid me for helping him and his wife for a couple hours. So we ended up moving all this stuff over to this new house that was fairly big. It was like a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. When I got there, there was already furniture there. And like, it was interesting, but some of the rooms were already like fairly set up. And it looked like, they had been living there for a little while. So I help him bring in his stuff, and he's like, all right, well, help bring my stuff into this room, and then my wife needs help bringing stuff into her room. When I heard this, I thought it was like super strange, like no judgment on my behalf, but he then said to me that him and his wife don't sleep in the same bedroom. And like I said, I didn't really say anything back to this and just kept on bringing the boxes in. And it was interesting, but the woman didn't show like any affection towards him at all. And the only thing she said to him was, thank you, whenever he was bringing stuff into her room. And she said this to me too. But I could tell there was just like zero sexual attraction between them. I mean, absolutely zero. And you can sense this stuff. I mean, you can look at a couple and you can see if they're genuinely attracted to each other. And I thought this was all so odd that he met this woman, about 6 months ago. Now he's moving into a house with her. And it just made absolutely no sense to me this time, as I was still in my early to mid 20s, when this was going, when this was happening. And I was happy to help him out and make a little bit of money in the process. Another thing I figured I'd mention is that the woman barely spoke any English, and the words she did say were like, thank you, hi, what can I get for you, and bye. And as I was leaving for the day, I really wanted to say to him, like, dude, like, what are you doing? But like I said, I did security at his workplace and felt that it wasn't really my place. And this guy was in his late 40s, early 50s, and at this point in his life, he should have known better. So I continued to do security for a few more years while I was still in college, and then for about 2 years of graduating from college. And we talked whenever I would walk past his desk, but he would never really mention anything about his wife. Or anything of that sort. It wasn't until about 2 years later that I walked by his desk and he seemed like really down. Like normally when I would walk past his desk, he'd be, fairly excited to see me. And at this time he was like, oh, hey. And I asked him if he was all right, because normally he'd be in a better mood. He then said, like, my wife and I have been fighting a lot recently. It's really getting to me. And I remember getting this like cold like zap that ran through my body when he said this. And looking back to the years prior when I helped him move in to this new house that he bought for her, that's what I was thinking would happen deep down. But like I said, I was still young in college and didn't want to make things awkward, as I had to walk by this guy's desk every day while I was doing security. And he then puts his hand over his face and tears just start like rushing down his face. And like, I really felt bad for the guy in a lot of ways. Like, in a nutshell, I think the woman used him to get her out of poverty and out of a tough living environment, and kind of used him as a way to get to the US so that she could live a better life. And this is something that happens to a lot of unattractive guys. They aren't really able to date many women, really sometimes any women here in the US, or they struggle massively in dating and they go to these third world countries in hopes of bringing home a woman that really loves them. But in a lot of cases, like, these women have zero sexual attraction for them and just kind of use these guys as a way to get to the US to live a better life until they're able to, divorce them. So, I don't know any of the details behind the marriage or what exactly was going on, but he then asked me and another guy that worked at his company to help him move his stuff to another apartment. But the crazy part is that he still owned the house at that point, and I think he was making mortgage payments on it. But he told me that he just needed to get away and move to another apartment to just kind of get away from her for a while. And I agreed to help him, and me and this other guy that was around my age just kind of looked at each other that day like we both knew what was going on. And, we moved all the larger items into the truck. It was super awkward though. Like she was there, like his wife was there, and she was just yelling stuff at him for about 15 minutes in Spanish. And I obviously didn't know what she was saying, but let's just say it didn't sound nice. And I don't think, it was just like, it was just extremely uncomfortable, and I felt like horrible for him. Like, she essentially treated him like a king to get him to bring her here, and then she slowly started showing her true colors and treated him like shit once she got everything from him that she needed. And I remember when we got back to his new apartment, like how sad this guy looked. And I ended up getting a position in a different industry and kind of starting a new career. And I haven't seen him since. Like, I remember I said goodbye to him. I let him know that I was moving on to a new career, and we stayed in touch for a little bit. But at the end of the day, this definitely isn't here. Like, I'm not here to dissuade anyone from going abroad and finding a wife, but I think if you haven't like worked on yourself and you're not attractive here in the US, I hate to break it to you, but you're not going to be attractive. You're probably not going to be attractive to women outside of the US. I think when you're unattractive, physically unattractive as an example, and you go abroad, this just really sets you up as a man to be duped. Whether that's like, being robbed, being extorted, having a woman just purely use you for your money and then divorcing you. I think a lot of women from these third world countries, kind of look at average looking or unattractive guys as a ticket to, a better life out of their country. And they may act interested for a period of time, but that'll change. And I think seeing this firsthand at a younger age was definitely eye-opening, to me at the time, as I was still in the process of losing a lot of weight and, restoring my hair. And I had thoughts at one point back then of actually going abroad to meet someone. And I'm glad I kind of saw this and never took those steps back then. What I will say is I think if you've looks maxed and, you've improved yourself to where, you would be naturally attractive to women outside of the US, depending on the country, you're obviously going to have a better chance of a woman like finding you genuinely attractive, but it still adds a lot of complications and they could still be using you, for a better life. Personally, I would avoid it. I do think if you want to travel to, a place like Colombia or Brazil or, Eastern Europe, like go for it. Like I think that, if you want to go there for the culture, you want to go there for, even if you want to go there strictly for women, like go for it, but just be very careful because, even as an attractive guy, women may still view you as, a ticket for a better life and they may not be genuinely attracted or interested in you. That's just my take on it. Do what you want. I'm sure it's worked out for a lot of people. In fact, I remember my uncle, he got married and had a kid with with a Filipino woman when he was serving in the Navy over there. And they were happy married, but there are countless horror stories out there, especially on YouTube, that I'll never personally do it. Well, if you've enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like. Feel free to comment down below any thoughts you have, and feel free to subscribe. Until next time, take care.